Mark Carney confirmed yesterday that Canada is considering joining U.S. President Donald Trump's new Golden Dome missile defense program. Speaking with reporters on Parliament Hill, Carney said high-level discussions are underway with the U.S., but he refused to provide a ballpark figure for how much Canada might contribute to the massive undertaking.
I think I'll say the following about the situation with air defense or ballistic missile defense, intercontinental ballistic missile defense, broader defense against, including potential missiles that in the not too distant future could come from space. I mean, these are some of the threats that our nation faces. We take those threats seriously. We take our responsibilities as a government seriously, as I just said. It's one of the reasons why we made the commitment back in March for the over-the-horizon radar, the first phase of the over-horizon radar system, and that was an independent decision that we took. We are conscious that we have an ability, if we so choose, to complete the Golden Dome with investments and partnership. And it's something that we are looking at and something that has been discussed at a high level, but not sure one negotiates on this. These are military decisions that are then taken in that context. And we will evaluate it accordingly.
Andrew Donaldson from OrdinaryTimes.com joined us for more on the logistics of the Golden Dome.
So if this sounds a little familiar, it's because it is. This is a remix, updated version of the old Reagan Star Wars era program with a lot more layers to it. Now, it's based on Israel's Iron Dome, which has proven to be pretty effective. But folks need to remember something. Pretty effective in these things does not mean 100% effective. It cannot be. And we've seen recently in Israel when Iran launched ballistic missiles at Israel, they got almost all of them, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. And when you got missiles coming in on civilian population, almost ain't really good enough, but that's about as best you're going to do with something like this. Now, the important difference for as good as the Iron Dome system in Israel is, that is for a nation that is about the size of the United States state of New Jersey, and it is heavily concentrated around places like Tel Aviv. Even their dome doesn't cover everything. So let's start with the image when President Trump introduced this thing. He had the big graphic behind him of the entire United States with a literal Golden Dome cartoonishly drove over it. That's not feasible. That's not ever going to happen. You can't do that. In the world we live in, should you have missile defense system on key areas like Washington, D.C., maybe New York City, because obviously the 9/11 comparisons. You have things like the Norfolk Naval Base in Fort Bragg in North Carolina, the largest Army installation. Should things like that have missile defense along with cities and other areas? Yes, they should. This is something that should be done. But what is being proposed and what is going to be done is probably two different things here. Now, President Trump pitched it as about $175 billion to start with. The reconciliation package, budget package that's currently working itself through the United States Congress has about only $25 million of that in there. And remember, we're going to have midterm elections and who knows what happens after that. This thing's going to have to be funded. And the estimates already over the next 20 years, if they actually did it as proposed, would be upwards of $500 to $700 billion, depending on the number you want to. So this thing's going to be massively expensive. There's also a thing of, do you get your allies involved? Prime Minister Carney from Canada was asked about this, kind of said, well, of course, we're going to look at it because we have mutual defense. But this is going to be a bit of an issue going forward because remember, too, this is going to bring up a lot of problems that the Trump administration has to deal with things like corruption and the industrial complex of the military and how contracting works. There's also the issue of Elon Musk, who is still technically part of the administration, but has kind of been put out on the cold and said he's going to back away from politics. He's part of some of the people that are looking for the subcontractors, because remember, this is not one system. This is going to be a system of systems. There's going to be a lot of hands in the industrial military complex pie wanting a piece of this money. And then there's the issue of, does it actually work? We know missile defense can work in specific areas with specific things. Can it work over an entire continent? No, probably not, even if you had unlimited money, which we don't. So you have a political angle of the congressional funding that could be upended with an election. You have Trump doing his thing where he has a habit of over-promising and under-delivering. And then you have the fact that this is a very real threat that needs to be dealt with. All those pieces go into the Golden Dome proposal, and we'll have to see where it goes from here.